Ecofictologists, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lovis, and since I had such a fabulous summer of reading, I am back with another book review. Today I will be reviewing My Last Continent by Midge Raymond. Can you see that? It's really reflective. How do I... There! Oh, there it was. There it is. My Last Continent by Midge Raymond. You might recognize her name from being one of the co-founders of Ashland Creek Press, who I've mentioned several times on this channel. They're a boutique publishing house that focus on environmental and nature writing that talks a lot about animal welfare and our relationship with the environment. But this book is not published by Ashland Creek Press. Midge decided to go traditional with publishing My Last Continent, and it's been really successful. I actually recommended this book to the Ecofiction book club that I started at my university, and we kind of unanimously loved it so much that I decided to reach out to Midge and see whether she would be willing to come and talk to our little group of nerdy scientist readers. She was so kind and generous with her time. She did come and talk to us, and we kind of geeked out about her writing process and how she captured kind of the essence of ecologists and scientists who are the main characters of this book, and she said that she had a good time listening to scientists read about her fictional scientists because that's not a perspective she gets all the time, so I think we had a good time all around. Of course, I also took that opportunity to interview Midge about her book and about her writing in general, and that will be coming next week, so stay tuned for that. But I thought I would do my usual book review overview today. If you caught my top 10 ecofiction titles video, which I will link up here somewhere as well as down below, you'll know that My Last Continent snuck up into my top 10. That is how much I loved it. So before I get way too ahead of myself, let's just get right into it. First up, as always, a spoiler-free summary. My Last Continent is a romance story. It follows Deb and Keller, both of whom are ecologists studying penguins down in Antarctica, and they work as the onboard ecologists on cruise ships, trying to teach the passengers a little bit about the wildlife that they see, and also about the changes affecting the environment around them due to climate change and lots of other anthropogenic factors. This job is a means to an end. They're on the cruise ship in order to get to their field site to study the Adelie penguin colony, and then when the season is over, they hop back on the cruise ship to go back to, the mainland. And so they spend the season at a little site studying the penguin colony. Since this is seasonal work, they only have these few weeks every year to be together. Cue long distance, long lasting romance. You can fill in some blanks for yourself. But in the season that we start the book on the cruise ship, Keller doesn't show. Also, I thought about whether this was spoilers or not, but it's literally at the start of the book. Midge tells you that we are counting down towards a shipwreck. A sinking cruise vessel in the Antarctic. Here's your ticking clock, and did your anxiety levels just amp up, because that was no doubt her intention. So we've got the Antarctic, we've got penguins, we've got penguinologists, and we've got impending doom, and we've got a romance. Are you hooked yet? The story is told in kind of a non-linear fashion, as we are always switching back and forth between the present on the cruise ship and this kind of ticking clock of a sinking vessel, and the past, where Deb and Keller first met, their years of romance and how it developed, and we fall in love with them as characters, and all the while having that anxiety at the back of our minds of what this shipwreck could possibly have to do with them. So even if this story wasn't about penguins and the Antarctic, it would already be a great story, but the fact that it was about that, and it was about our impact on this environment via climate change, pollution, and of course tourism, and overfishing and harvesting, bycatch, I could go on. It just tickled my little marine biologist heart. Again, if you refer back to my top 10 video, I fully acknowledge that I have a bias in my reading where I respond very favorably to stories that feature ecologists or scientists in some capacity. I can't help it, what can I say? Everybody wants to see themselves in the stories they read, and I want to see more nerds. Give me the nerds! And from a professional standpoint, of course, I can also relate to Deb on many levels, how her passion drives her, how she's simply furious at the rest of the world while she just stands there and has to watch the ecosystem and the species that she loves try and struggle to adapt to our mess. And then even though she's doing all this work and trying to educate the public and do her research as well, it still feels like it's not enough. She also lives a very particular lifestyle as a seasonal ecologist, whose life and rhythm kind of revolves around that of the penguins down at the bottom of the world. That has domino effects for the rest of your life, because you know that every year, for several weeks or months, you will be away from home and unreachable and very, very remote. I don't live this life myself, obviously, but I do know people who do, and it does make for quite an interesting dynamic. And it was interesting to see how Midge, who is not herself an ecologist, a seasonal ecologist at that, could actually capture this kind of push and pull dynamic. This book also triggered a bit of conflict in me, because I, like probably so many others, have always wanted to go to the Antarctic and to see it. But now, I mean, I knew this. But reading it in the book made me realize that if I went on a cruise vessel like this, I would just be part of the problem. I would just be part of the hundreds and thousands of people who invade this last refuge of like pristine nature. Even though I know that it is being impacted by all of our crap, just like everywhere else. But it's still inhospitable enough that you don't just find cities there, okay? That's what I mean. And I like the idea of that. I want to see it, but the number of cruise ships going there every year just increases and increases. And, this book talks a lot about the consequences of that increase and the dangers of that kind of tourism. And I don't want to be a part of it, but I want to see it. I want to see it so bad. I'm gonna have to find a way on board like a research vessel or something. And like go, but give a little bit back, some kind of karmic balance. I don't know. I really want to see it. But anyway, that is a big topic in this book, and hopefully, if it had this effect on me, hopefully it will have had this effect on many other people reading it. And even though it will have probably also made everybody want to go because it has some beautiful descriptions of Antarctica, hopefully they'll think about how they go and how they act if they get there. So I love this book. I inhaled it in, I think, a weekend, maybe even one day, pretty much. That's how much I loved it. And I really enjoyed my chat with Midge, which you will get to enjoy next week. Definitely check in again for that. She's wonderful to talk to. We covered so many topics and we had a good time. I hope you enjoyed my review of My Last Continent by Midge Raymond. If you did, give this video a like and hit subscribe if you haven't already. I post every Wednesday about something about reading and writing ecofiction. Sometimes I post bonus content on Mondays. And if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, then click the bell. I can't remember which side of the screen. I've been doing this for a year and a half and I don't know which side of the screen this is, but there's a bell next to the subscribe button and you should click it. And if you like what I do and would like to support me, then head on over to patreon.com/Ecofictology and become a patron, where your monthly donation buys me books. I think actually this was one of the books that I bought with my patron money. So thank you, patrons. And being a patron also supports Love the Oceans, a marine conservation organization operating out of Mozambique. If you would like to have access to the wealth of book recommendations that I use to find new titles, then join us on our Discord server, Rewilding Our Stories. The invite link is in the description below. We have people who love ecofiction from all kinds of perspectives, academics, readers, publishers, writers, just, everybody. Everybody is welcome, so come and join. You'll also find the link to the Facebook group down there, which is another place that I post updates, and you can start conversations if you like, post questions. The floor is yours. And I think that is all from me, so I will see you next week, Ecofictologists.